I never thought I'd be the daughter who'd fall for the same man my mother betrayed my father with. My name's Zoe, and this is my confession, raw and unfiltered, a story of betrayal so sharp it tore through my family and left me in flames. If you're watching, you're already hooked, caught in a truth that feels like passion until it's a chain around your soul. This isn't about love or redemption. It's about infidelity, the kind that blinds you and dares you to leap. Stay with me because this one's going to unravel you. It's a tale of secrets, lust, and a sin I couldn't escape. It was a sultry August evening in Asheville, North Carolina, the air thick with pine and summer heat. I was 20, home from college for the summer, living with my parents in our cozy mountain cabin. My mom, Ellen, 42, was vibrant, her laughter warm but lately distant. My dad, Greg, 45, was a busy architect, often away. That night, I came home early from a friend's, the cabin dark, except for a glow from the guest house. Curious, I crept closer and saw them, Mom and Ryan, 25, a local artist with tousled hair and a dangerous smile, tangled together on the couch. The guest house was dim, the fairy lights casting a soft glow, the air heavy with wine and desire. Mom's dress was slipping, Ryan's hands bold on her waist, their laughter low and intimate. I froze, hidden by the window's shadows, my heart pounding. Ryan's shirt was open, his chest lean, his eyes locked on Mom's. I should have run, told Dad, but their heat held me, a spark I hadn't felt before. Their lips met, fierce and hungry, tasting of wine and sin. My phone buzzed, Dad checking in, but I couldn't move my breath, catching my eyes locked on their fire. The pine-scented air pulsed the night, shielding their betrayal. Ryan's hands slid under Mom's dress, her gasps sharp in the quiet space. My heart raced, not with anger, but with something darker, a curiosity I couldn't name. I told myself to leave to protect Dad, but my feet stayed rooted, my body alive with a forbidden pull. Then Ryan's eyes flicked to the window, catching mine. He smirked, a silent dare, and I felt exposed, my pulse racing faster. The next day I saw Ryan at the local art fair, his booth vibrant with paintings. Mom was at the bakery, Dad at work. I wore a sundress, my hair loose, my nerves electric. "You saw us," Ryan said, his voice low, his eyes piercing as he handed me a sketch. His fingers brushed mine, a spark that hit like a storm. I told myself to walk away, to stay loyal to my family, but his gaze, his confidence, it was too much. The fair was bustling, the air thick with paint and tension. Ryan stepped closer, his hand grazing my arm, his smile daring. "You're not like her," he said, his tone soft but bold, his breath warm. My heart pounded, a traitor, as I nodded, my silence a confession. His smile was slow, dangerous, like he'd already claimed me. We slipped to a quiet alley behind the fair, the air thick with dust and the night shielding us. Ryan's hand slid to my waist, his fingers warm through the cotton, a spark that burned through my loyalty. "Tell me to stop," he whispered, his lips close, his breath hot with coffee and longing. I didn't. My hands found his chest, the linen rough, his pulse strong. The music faded, the fair distant, and I was already lost. His kiss was a collision, fierce and reckless, tasting of coffee and sin. My hand slid up his neck, pulling him closer, the alley wall cool behind me. The night pulsed, the air heavy as his lips trailed to my throat, his hands bold, each touch a pulse of pleasure and betrayal. I was drowning, and Ryan was the tide pulling me into a sea of want. Mom's laughter, Dad's trust faded, leaving only him, his heat, my hunger. His kiss was a wildfire burning through my loyalty to my family. Ryan's hands were bold, tugging at my dress, his fingers grazing my skin through the cotton. The alley was a haze, the streetlights casting shadows that danced like secrets. My hands roamed his chest, the linen slipping, revealing skin that burned under my touch. The pine air matched my racing heart, the air thick with coffee and desire. His lips were everywhere, my jaw, my collarbone, each kiss a claim, each touch a bond shattered. I pulled him toward a nearby studio, his art space, the door half closed, shielding us from the world. My dress was gone, discarded in the haze, revealing lace that made his breath catch. My hands slid lower, tracing his belt, his gasps sharp in the quiet space. The guilt was there, cold and sharp, but my longing fueled every touch, every move. His hands were on my thighs, sliding under the lace, his fingers leaving trails of fire. The studio was our world, the fair, a distant hum. I pressed him against a canvas, my body molding to his, the lace a tease I couldn't control. His lips found mine again, hungry, demanding tasting of coffee and want. My hands slid under his shirt, his skin warm and taut, his breath hitching as my fingers explored. The lamplight glowed, painting us in gold and shadow, turning our sin into something almost beautiful. But it wasn't. It was raw, reckless, a collision of need and betrayal. Zoe, he murmured my name, a spell pulling me deeper. My fingers tangled in his hair, my body arching into his, a demand he couldn't resist. The night was suffocating, the music relentless as my hands gripped his shoulders, his jeans a barrier I wanted to tear away. The pleasure was building a storm of its own, raw and relentless, edged with the guilt of betraying Mom and Dad. When it happened, it was a collision, a wave crashing over us. His groans were sharp, muffled by the studio walls, my hands holding him tight, our bodies moving as one. The pleasure was fierce, overwhelming, a betrayal that felt like freedom. The canvas creaked, the night heavy with our heat, my sin unfolding. The fair pulsed indifferent as I crossed a line I couldn't uncross. It was everything, every ache, every want, every bond I'd buried. Afterward, we stayed there tangled, breathless, the air heavy with the scent of paint and us. Ryan's hair fell across my shoulder, his fingers tracing my hip, his eyes half closed with satisfaction. The guilt crashed in a deluge, but his warmth held it at bay, a lie I wanted to believe. "This is trouble," he said, his voice rough, unconvincing. I smiled, broken and bitter, my lips brushing his ear. "I know," I said, and I meant it. The Asheville summer lingered, and so did the weight of my betrayal. I left the studio, my dress back on, Ryan's scent, coffee and sin clinging to me. Mom was at home, her smile bright, her trust a knife in my chest. I tried to be the daughter she loved, helping with chores, laughing with her. But Ryan's touch haunted me, his face in every shadow, every dream. The guilt was a beast clawing at me, but his fire burned brighter, a flame I couldn't douse. Our stolen moments continued, fleeting encounters in his truck, the forest trail, his loft, each a spark, each fading fast, but leaving me craving more. One night I saw him at a cafe, his eyes catching mine. Mom was at a book club, Dad on a work trip. Ryan approached, his voice low. "You're not done," he said, his hand grazing my arm, reigniting the spark. I told myself to stop, to protect my family, but my body betrayed me. He texted later, midnight. My loft. I went the night thick with heat, his silhouette waiting in the dark. The loft was raw, the air heavy with paint and desire. His shirt discarded, his skin glowing in the moonlight. His kiss was fiercer now, desperate hands tearing at my blouse. My hands roamed his body, greedy, memorizing every muscle, every shudder. The night's hum hid our sin, but the guilt was sharper, a blade I couldn't outrun. His lips found my throat, his hands sliding under my lace, his touch a brand I'd never erase. Mom grew suspicious. "You're distant, Zoe," she said, her eyes searching mine over dinner. I froze her trust, a contrast to my betrayal. Just college stress. I lied, my voice tight, my mind flashing to the loft, Ryan's hands on my skin. Her frown deepened, and I feared she saw the truth. "You're my daughter," she said, and the words were a weight crushing me. Then it happened. Mom caught us, her gasp sharp in the loft's doorway, her purse dropping. "Zoe," she cried, her face crumpling, Ryan's hands still on me. I froze, my sin unraveling her pain, a mirror of my guilt. "You too," she whispered, tears falling, and ran out, leaving us in silence. I told Ryan it was over. He stood in the loft, his eyes blazing, his shirt open. "You'll come back," he said, his voice a challenge. He left a paintbrush behind, his initials scratched into it, tucked into my bag. I should have thrown it away, but I kept it a secret that scorched. The Asheville heat lingered, and so did my shame, a fire I couldn't quench. Mom confronted me. "How could you?" she asked, holding the paintbrush, her voice trembling. I froze, my sin unraveling her trust, a mirror of my guilt. I confessed not all, but enough, admitting to Ryan my fascination, my betrayal. She cried, her face broken, and told me to leave, her voice cold. I packed my bags, my heart heavy, our family shattered. I was alone, the paintbrush in my hand. Ryan's scent, a ghost I'd never escape. This is my story, a warning to anyone who thinks they can chase fire and not get burned. If you've watched this far, you know that betrayal, that ache for what you shouldn't take. So hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, call me a fool, a sinner, or just a daughter who fell. Like the video or don't, but share it with someone who's felt infidelity's sting. Check out my other stories, they're just as raw, just as real. Ever fallen for a forbidden spark? Spill your secrets below. I'm listening, and I've been there.